Hello and welcome to our second live. Today we have a very special guest. Well, not a guest. It's part of the team. And today we're gonna be talking about mental health as
Yeah.
every week, but we're also gonna be focusing on your story, Kath.
Yeah.
Say hello to everyone who's watching.
Hi, how are you today? Hope everybody's good.
Yes, and how do we start today's? Tell us about a little bit about yourself, where you are right now.
I think a good place to start is like just going back to when I was a child, I suppose, when
Yes.
I was always kind of the sensitive child,
Yeah.
the curious child, asked all the questions, always kind of was unafraid almost to ask questions, constantly curious, never listened, a little bit quite boisterous.
Hold on. Before we start with that, what kind of story are you going to tell us about? What kind of diagnosis are we talking about?
It's going to be my mental health diagnosis because obviously I've got health diagnoses as well, but I mean the mental health is the one that's really kind of affected my life so much since obviously being that child as innocent and then kind of turning into this completely emotive cyclone is probably the only way that I could describe that I turned into, was just a tornado of emotion, and I was a whirlwind.
And I would like to acknowledge how challenging and difficult talking about these situations, about your own mental health, about your own story, to a camera, to a live audience is. So I want to acknowledge that and honor your courage and your strength for putting yourself out there.
Thank you.
And taking very brave steps towards sharing your experience and your story.
Yeah, I think because I've grown now to a point where I'm not ashamed of all the parts and the traumas and whatever I've faced anymore.
Yes.
And I understand that a lot of the time it's a driving force behind the emotions that I have on a daily basis, what I've experienced. I think that kind of now gives me an objective view to become ready to kind of share how, because this is the next step for me now, is being open and to show people that it's okay to come out the other side, knowing that we've made some bad choices within those times and we've been in some situations you wouldn't normally put yourself in. And I think because of the fact that I've had to forgive myself so much about that, for me to be able to share it now is about me giving the ultimate forgiveness of accepting it is what it is, parking it and just going, okay, here on in, here on forward, just sort of trying to carry on. And I want to be able to be normal.
Absolutely. And I think it's just amazing that you can now feel in the position to say, I went through the whole journey. I went through all the darkness. I did the work, and I'm still doing it. And I'm now in a position where I can look back and see the challenges and how difficult it has been, but also the rewards about having passed that stages and those difficulties.
Yeah, and I think as well, it's just that kind of allowing yourself to be you and not be defined by diagnosis of periods of time that you've been through. Kind of removing the label, and also the fact as well now that I'm in a position where if I'm triggered, rather than actually looking at the situation as a whole and thinking that's the thing that triggers me because it's a horrible situation, I've actually now, I work on and go, okay, so why am I reacting like this now? Because it's not really truly the situation that I'm in. Because a lot of the time I project my stuff onto others, which is something that I did at the weekend. And I'm at a point now where I'm triggering the pinpoint as to what caused the behavior, enabling me to work on, because it's a long process, but to work on that behavior.
Yes, totally. Where when in your life, if you can remember, when was the first time ever that you remember thinking, okay, there is something going on, there is something wrong or different or dark or whatever you have. I don't know. The first time you thought of yourself differently.
Do you know, it's been since very, very young. Very young. I had a lot of tough time in high school.
So we're talking about teenage.
High school, I'm talking back to teenage years. And the thing is as well, this is like a big kind of thing for me to talk about. The fact that from 7 years of age up until I was age 28, I was a consistent bedwetter. So I had to kind of live with that on a daily basis, going through comprehensive, going through, sleepovers and, things like that. And I kind of learned to hold it all in because of embarrassment, fear, shame, and it was like 28 was like the last time that it happened. Do you know what I mean? So it was a long, long period. And like, again, looking sort of back, I think that was a big part and parcel as to why I held onto shame a lot of my life and why I didn't really, even though I wanted to be around people and I wanted to have friends, kind of giving them that next level of vulnerability isn't something that I was ever able to do, even from such a young age, like really young. So I've always basically been on my own with the hyper independence of knowing I can sort this shit out.
Yes.
I don't need anyone else.
You know something? I didn't know this about you. And the thing is, I also wet the bed. I mean, up to my 18th.
Yeah.
And
because it doesn't leave you.
And it was very difficult. Obviously, I couldn't do sleepovers with friends. The thing that you have to wake up every morning,
change your bed,
and change your bed. And in my family, they used to put me this plastic between the sheet and the mattress. The heat, the noise.
Every time you move.
And obviously you wake up the next morning in a pool of piss.
Yeah.
And it's just horrendous. But I mean, from my part, I understand where did I come from.
Oh yeah, totally the same thing.
Because I was being abused from the age of 5.
Yeah.
And before that, I already had issues of sexual abuse and all that stuff. In your case, how do you think was all this wet triggering, which it's related to feeling safe, the warmth at the beginning, although later it becomes cold and horrible.
Yes.
In that moment, is that need?
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact as well that when I sleep, because I've got aphantasia.
What's aphantasia?
That's where I have no visual imagery in my brain. So very much when I close my eyes, everything is dark, just black. I don't pull any images. I don't do anything like that. So I think I've always had this ability to be able to go into this deep sleep because I don't, and like, when I couldn't sleep, like they tell you to count sheep. Yeah, I can't do that because I don't see them, that kind of thing. And I think because I didn't dream, I never there was that, but sometimes I would dream about being on the toilet while I am weighing in the bed.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I know where it goes back to, and it's due to, abuse. And behaviors of bullying. And I mean, it was a difficult time.
Yes.
And I think as well, a big trigger was when my dad started working away. I felt abandonment. Complete and utter abandonment.
From
my own dad, I think from that moment on is when I realised that
totally understand that. I mean, the fact that you are talking about it publicly means that there has been some healing happening, but it doesn't mean that
it's not gone away.
It stops hurting.
But I'm aware of the fact that that was probably the moment in my life when I'd realised I was alone.
When did that happen? Do you want to talk about?
That was like I was 7.
Yes.
Yeah, I just remember begging my dad. He was telling me, I'm not going to be around very much now because I'm doing traveling abroad for work and things like that. And I just remember
he had to leave.
Well, I mean,
for work.
Well, I don't know. I mean, these are not questions that I've been able to ask in my perspective. No, he didn't, because I was a 7-year-old child begging him not to go.
I just want to acknowledge Rihanna for saying you got this pickle.
Oh, thank you, babes.
You're doing amazingly. You're doing amazingly, and thank you so much for sharing all this. This pain.
Yeah, because it still hurts, And the thing is like, no matter what healing I do, I'm an emotive person. I feel very, very intently, and I'm not embarrassed of that anymore, which is something that I really was. And I would always kind of be like, oh, stop crying. Oh, Kath's crying again. Do you know what? Yeah, I am crying again. That's because I fucking feel, excuse the language, sorry. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But
yeah. You know something? You're talking about aphantasia?
Yeah.
Aphantasia. But you might have this situation where it's difficult to produce images in your mind. However, emotionally.
But this is another thing that I've worked out, believe it or not, especially since I've done a lot of research on the aphantasia, because the more I'm kind of trying to learn about it, the more I'm understanding how I learn and how I take things in.
Yes.
And it's like when I'm reading a book, I don't have an inner monologue. So therefore, there isn't anything in my brain reading it for me in no voice at all. I just know and feel the words. Yeah. That's the only way that I can describe. And like images, people, I just know and feel them. Yes. So I think that's a big part as to why my emotional regulation is the way it is, and why I'm kind of quite expressive with my emotions, because I feel it intently, because I have no other way to understand it.
Yes.
And that's why words hold so much power.
It's like when blind people, they get very acute hearing or very acute other senses.
Yeah. And it is overwhelming, kind of the emotion side of things. But I think because I ran from it for so many years of being that kind of sensitive person and being open with it, because often what I found now is that I understand that it's other people's perception, not so much about me.
Yes.
They feel uncomfortable with the fact that I'm so openly emotive.
And that was from the very beginning as a child.
But people are generally find it difficult with emotions. They find emotional people and sensitive people quite difficult.
True.
Because what I find about me as a person, I have such this pull to want to understand someone. I don't want to kind of like have surface levels. I want to understand them. I want to know how they tick. I want to kind of like, because I find the more I kind of understand about someone, how they communicate, how they react to situations, it's not about adapting who you are. It's about adapting your approach then.
Okay.
Which I think makes you a little bit more kind of powerful as a person, because rather than going all in, this is who I am, this is you've got to accept it.
Yes.
You're going in with, okay, maybe I need to adapt a little bit here and see what they're about to try and give them a little bit of understanding.
Yes.
Perhaps that's where the empathy comes in with myself, because of the fact that I'm so curious about wanting to understand the root of who they are.
When did it become about understanding others
before
understanding yourself?
Always.
So you had this kind of duality of dealing with everything that's happening to you, plus at the same time needing to understand what's happening to other people.
Yeah.
What's happening to other people.
Why are they doing this? Why are you doing this? Why is this action? And that's a lot of the big reason that I used to like. My mum would be like, "Oh, why? I don't bloody know why." Because I would literally be that child. Why? Why is this? Why is that? Why is that? Because there's so much in the world that I just can't grasp my thought process around.
Yes.
Because another thing my mother always said, Kath, you need to remember not everybody thinks the same way as you. Because I think you've noticed yourself, my thinking process is very different.
Yes.
Kind of than a lot of others, and I think very big. But not only do I think big, I catastrophize big.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
So you can
it's
think
a double-edged
something
sword.
good, you can go in the other direction and think the worst.
Massively. Totally catastrophize something to the point of self-destruction.
Okay. So we have this situation around 7 years of age when your dad had to begin to separate because work situations, that triggers huge amount of emotion and trauma of abandonment. How do you deal? How have you dealt with all that situation?
Oh, I buried it and buried it and buried it. I was such a lost child, so lost. Always in my own bubble, always in my own little world, kind of like completely, I think, ignorant. Not ignorant, maybe that's the wrong word. Detached from everything in reality. I mean, when I really
that's when you went into your mind.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
I lived in my mind probably from that age until 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you say that that is kind of the beginning of the personality disorder?
I think that's where which is the borderline personality disorder diagnosis comes from. I think that's where the trauma from, because they do say the trauma from childhood kind of does help get you. Oh, sorry. Try again. It does affect the frontal lobe of the brain processing and growing. So you do actually grow 16% smaller, I want to say.
Okay.
Please bear with me on that. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I will correct myself. But that's what affects the emotional regulation then from that point. Because basically it does physically change your brain when you receive trauma in childhood because the development doesn't move on from there. But on top of that, I also have Chiari type 1 malformation in my brain, where part of my brain sits outside my skull. Yeah, and there's pressure that builds and things like that. So my brain workup, that was from birth.
Okay.
That is a deformity and a malformation that I was born with. Yeah.
Okay.
Which was only discovered, I think, 7 years ago.
Okay.
Explained a hell of a lot of me as a child. But yeah, so there's a lot going on in my brain, I suppose, that I was predisposed and predisposition, sorry, I think is the better word to gain a mental health condition.
Okay.
You know, it was kind of there. And it's in my genes as well. My granddad was bipolar diagnosed. That was my first diagnosis that I had, which was 2010.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you begin to feel all those emotions, age 7, you grow up into this new
teenager
paradigm because you go into your mind, you begin to create your own stories.
And that's where I found drugs.
Some good, some bad. And then you find drugs. How old were you back then?
I was 13 the first time I ever tried any form of drug. Yeah, 13.
And that was
smoking cannabis. Yeah.
And what kind of experience were you having?
Detachment further away again. Just so numbness.
Like numbness,
not
chill.
Feeling.
Okay.
And escape from my own mind a little bit.
Okay.
And then it kind of moved from there to amphetamine when I was going on a weekend, and ecstasy, because it's that joyous feeling. I was so lost and so didn't know how to feel happy, didn't know how to. So those moments were happiness for me.
Yeah.
So the only way I knew happiness was through drugs.
Yeah.
I mean, drink was another one, was a big issue. I mean, I had a massive issue with drink in my teenage years. Sexual promiscuity. Just trying to find somewhere to fit.
Yes.
Yeah.
How bad did it get? How bad you could say that you went down the rabbit hole into self-destruction or self-escape?
Actually, the bad, when I went really bad, was when I was 2008. That's when it really hit. And I mean, I'd lived life so numb, so detached. I mean, previous to 2003, when I turned 25, and between 25 and 28, I had suffered 6 miscarriages, 2 of them being ectopic. One where I nearly lost my life and I lost my fallopian tube. The other one where I had to have an injection to bypass it because it was another ectopic pregnancy.
So let me just say, by the age of 27, you had already 6.
Oh no, I'd had 9 in total, but in that period of time, I'd had 6 in 3 years.
That's massive.
Yeah.
That's massive. I mean, how did that affect you?
Oh, I was not. I can't even.
Did you wanted to have those kids?
Oh God, absolutely. Yeah. It was. Yeah.
So that was something that you were looking forward to.
Yeah.
But for X or Y reason, you kept losing the opportunity.
Kept losing, yeah. But obviously I'd had leave at this point, so I knew as well. I think it was kind of a little bit worse. I don't want to kind of put a judgment on it where other people. I'm not saying no, trying to take away from anybody else's experience, but for me, what kind of felt torturous was the fact I'd already had a child.
Yeah.
And I know I'd had a miscarriage previous to Neve.
Yes.
But I'd had a child, so I held the capabilities of doing this. And I just couldn't understand why body just wasn't doing this.
Yes.
And not even to a level of, it was like they were sticking in the tube. It was really kind of affecting my life and my physical being and everything, and I just couldn't for the life of me just understand why.
You needed to know why.
Yeah.
You needed to know why.
And also as well, like, that built such a massive distrust in the health system for me, because when I went to see a gynecologist, I was so young, you know what I mean? Well, at the time I was 25. And because the miscarriages I'd suffered had been with a different man, the doctor told me, oh no, I'm sorry, you have to wait until you've had 3 miscarriages with one person until I am able to tell you or do any investigations. I was judged at 25, or at 25, 26, sat opposite a doctor telling me that because I'd got pregnant by 2 different people, that it wasn't acceptable.
So at this time, you still didn't have anyone you could relate.
I still haven't.
About mental health and some sort of understanding.
I was like, I remember them giving me this leaflet after my miscarriage, going, oh, if you need any counselling. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, thanks. That's really helpful.
Yes.
And I just kind of went further into this self-destruct. 2008, then it just went head on into this self-destruct of.
Now you were talking about how self-destruct, how bad did it get?
Oh, it was bad. I mean, it started with promiscuity. Putting myself into very dangerous situations to feel something. I'd been put into situations where I'd had sex against my will. But I almost kind of pushed myself
to
those points because I needed to feel, even though I feel intently, I still didn't feel. Does that make sense? I wasn't actually really feeling.
Yeah.
I was feeling everything externally, but internally, I was just dead. And I just pushed myself into situations, especially then, like, it went down the road with drugs, drink. going out all the time, needing attention, all of it. I was vile.
Okay. I mean, have you now that you're looking back and you're seeing yourself how bad it got, how self-destructive, what can you say to yourself from now? I mean, your now personality.
Totally, but this personality's kind of always been there.
What are you saying to yourself? Or how do you see yourself back then?
Oh, sad. Just sad. That is it. Just sad. Even looking at photographs of me in those times is hard because I know how sad I am and how.
Are you talking still present? You still are?
In the past tense.
Okay.
When I'm looking at past tense
Yes.
photographs,
Yes.
I can see how sad I was.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. What I meant was how sad I am in the photograph, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Me and my literal speaking. But yeah, it was just so sad.
Yeah.
So destroyed, so unhappy, so I didn't even begin to give myself any self-worth. I mean, no wonder I got into situations and what happened kind of like later on even, because I was teaching people how to like me or love me by the way that I was treating myself. And when I'm treating myself with that much contempt and sadness and hatred, self-doubt, no self-worth, then of course I'm going to be treated that way by others.
That's true. That is so true. We get what we put out there.
There's nice people in the world.
Yes.
I'm not saying there isn't.
Yes.
But the thing is, when you're like that, and you're doing that to yourself, the energy that you're putting out there, it invites others to allow them the freedom to do it to you. Because if you're doing it to yourself, then others have the permission to do it. That's what a boundary is.
That's true.
That's the simplicity of a different in the shift of mindset. And the thing is people don't realize it is that bloody simple.
True. How long it lasted, this void, this deepest
12 years.
So in 12 years you reached rock bottom.
And then when I was 40,
yes,
that was when I really made a real serious plan to end my life. Just after my 40th birthday. That was when I did the serious plan. I'd even gone and visited everybody, finished my business with people.
Do you want to talk about how did you plan to do it?
I was in Wales at the time. I was a bit of a collector of medication. It was always my my safety net. I always had enough medication at home to take an overdose. Always, for years.
Once again, we have Rhiannon say, I am unbelievable in awe. So proud of you.
Oh, bless her. Thank you.
I think that everyone who's watching and will be watching, they will notice and acknowledge the difficulty, the pain, the darkness, and therefore the bravery for you to be talking about it here.
But it's nice to be able to talk about it today because even though I'm feeling emotional about it, it's not hurting me anymore.
Yeah.
I feel the emotion and I feel that it's painful.
12 years. Come on. That was a long period that you endured. You endured. I mean, your body endured, your mind endured a lot.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of self-hatred and
self-hatred, guilt,
pain.
Yeah.
Then you go into a suicide mode. What happened?
It was my 40th birthday. It was like smack in the middle of lockdown. I mean, I'd just come out of a relationship. Yeah.
I mean, you overdosed. You
No, I
actually
didn't actually, because the way it turned, it's really quite strange the way I was intervened. Because it obviously I'm meant to be here, and that's just the way that I'm thinking about it. Because it was quite strange, because I'd formulated the plan. I'd planned to go home on the 24th of July on 2020 to take an overdose of lithium, and I had well in the amounts of 200 tablets there.
lithium. What
Lithium priodal. It's
sleeping pill?
no. It's the medication that they give for mood stabilizer. It's heavy. Yeah, it's what's in batteries.
Okay. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, it's what is in batteries, because I have a naturally low lithium level in my blood.
Okay.
Yeah, but
and you had access to these medications.
Well, it was my meds, yeah, because I
meds.
used to stop taking them
Yes.
and save them as a safety kit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd planned to go home, take the full amount of lithium that I'd had there at home. And I was obviously going to be traveling back from Wales to London, because I was removing myself away from my daughter because I didn't want her to find me. That was the only thought. That's the only thing I cared. Actually. No, oh God, sorry.
It's okay. Take your time, because this is one of the most difficult moments of your life.
Yeah, but the only thing I cared about was I didn't want it to be my daughter who found me. I didn't want her to have to deal with that. I didn't care about the fact that I was leaving her, because I really, truly, truly thought that the world was just better off without. I'd really got to that level of self-hatred.
Of course.
I mean, that's not the last time of the suicidal thoughts, you know what I mean? But that was the first intensive, kind of real shit. Yeah.
Give yourself a hug. Because give yourself a hug. You deserve it. You deserve it. And Rihanna said in that hug, she said, "You're amazing. You're amazing." It's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, as a former suicide attempt myself, I know how difficult it is to know that you reached that low point in your life.
And I will always say to people, anybody that says that anybody who's committing suicide is selfish, they're the selfish ones, and they're projecting that onto them. Because I'll tell you something now, it is far from selfish, because when you're at that point, that darkness hurts you so much on a daily basis. You go to sleep every night not wanting to wake up every morning.
Yeah.
Who wants that? Who wants that existence? Nobody.
But something, love has the power to bring us back. You had your daughter. In my case, I had my mother. The thought of my mother finding me dead in the way I was at that point, it was just unbelievable. I mean, I just couldn't think about it. You had your daughter. Your daughter kind of gave you that hope, that light, that.
But what happened is, basically, it was intervened that I just so happened to have a psychiatrist phone me on the day that I was planning on going home. I was obviously very ill. They know what the job they're doing, and it had come out that this is what I'd planned. I hadn't told my daughter, I hadn't told anyone else, but I was then met at the train station by the police. Because they were worried for my welfare.
Yeah.
So I wasn't expecting the phone call off the psychiatrist or anything either, because I didn't even tell them where I was. Because once I'd worked out that I let the plan slip, yeah.
That's incredible. Obviously, you didn't do it because
no,
you're here.
I didn't. Yeah.
And how would you say that was the point when you spring back up and you begin to move on from that?
I think that was possibly. Is it the lowest? The lowest I'd been to that point.
Yes.
I can say. I think the lowest point that I'd had.
And you had help. I mean, you had.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was intervened then. I mean, I did cry out a lot. I mean, because I was in Wales as well and I was living in London, there was a lot of difficulty with getting I couldn't get the help in Merthyr. I'm back in my hometown. Because they basically said, because you live in London, there's nothing we can do. I couldn't get the help in London because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I then had to come back to London and start the process. So it was really freaking difficult because it's not the mental system, it's really messed up.
What were the processes that you went into that help you feel safer, feel stronger?
It was because I'd done DBT therapy previous to this.
DBT?
That's dialectical behavior therapy. That's where it's specifically engineered towards people with borderline personality disorder because it helps and teaches you what emotions you're feeling, which I think has been the massive beneficial and turning point for me was understanding the emotion that I'm feeling and which one it is.
Yes.
And it showed me meditation techniques, and I tried it with crafts and writing. That's when I started writing. And I wrote some real dark, twisted poetry, like really put my feelings onto paper. I started to write my story, little bits. I got to a certain degree because I couldn't pass it at that point. I started asking myself questions, and I think I would have had an advantage as well because when I did my student nursing, because we were taught how to reflect as part of an essay, and that was part of our job to be able to reflect back on care that we provided. I think because I held that skill, I was able to pull it on myself and really reflect on me. And there was a lot of things that I had to accept after that point. There were a few bitter pills to swallow, which they still are, of the fact that I was a party to some of the crap that I'd received. I accepted it. I took it and tolerated it.
That is massive step. Self-healing cannot happen until we can look into our own eyes and
really see what you've done.
And see what you've done, realize the mistakes, realize the whys and why nots, and
not win.
And choose to move on.
Yeah.
And
letting it go.
Accept help.
Yeah.
Accept the help, accept the vulnerability, accept the need for structure.
Yeah.
Around.
Yeah.
And get ready to begin building up.
Because I'm a rebel.
Yeah.
I'm rebellious in nature. I mean, that's kind of part of my personality. But the thing is, I'm a rebel towards authority and others.
Yes.
But I'm also a rebel to myself, which is like double-edged sword. Because the thing is, sometimes if I'll tell myself, oh, no, you can't do that. Oh, I want to know them more.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, who am I to say I don't want to do that? I'm doing it. You know what I mean? I'm literally to that level. I think this is where my fearlessness comes in.
Yes.
That fact, like, when I'm like, who the F you?
Yes.
It's like.
So you begin to build up.
Yeah.
Self-belief, confidence, strength.
Yeah, massive. And I think then
you start doing this therapy. What's it called?
DBT, which is dialectical behavior therapy. Marsha Stewart, I believe her name is. Oh, I could get that wrong. I'm not very good at remembering stuff, but I know her name is Marsha.
Yeah.
And she wrote the program specifically for people who suffer with emotional regulation.
Okay.
So it's about, and there's a lot of meditative techniques.
Yes.
A lot about mindfulness. Do you know what? The best thing I ever did was start being mindful of what I'm doing, even as simple as making a cup of coffee. Right. the joy of making you think, oh, this is going to be nice and warm now, and it's going to make me feel good. And do you know that was positive moments of thinking and being. It kind of helped the process to think more positive with myself.
Yes.
So the stepping stones, you've got to really go back to basics, because the thing is like, when you really think about it, once you've been to rock bottom, you're rebuilding. You are not the same person. You can't hold on to that version of yourself that you've held on to all these years, because that's what took you there.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because you're holding on to it, you're cuddling it, you're kind of like, oh, come on, I don't want to let you go.
Why do you think we hold on so strongly to those identities which self-destruct and makes us feel so much pain? And
it's our comfort zone.
You think it's a comfort zone?
Comfort.
Even though it's very uncomfortable?
It's uncomfortable comfort. It's what you know.
Okay.
It's all you know.
And how do you manage to let go of that uncomfortable comfort?
Ooh. It's hard because I'm still in it.
You think you're still in it?
Oh my God, massively.
Yeah?
Massively, yeah. I'm still in the process of, I'm really uncomfortable when people are nice to me. Really?
So I'm going to be very nasty to you.
I know. Do you know, I find it so much easier if somebody is aggressive towards me. Yeah. I find it so much easier to step into that energy, hold my own, and be a brash kind of like, I own this shit, who the f you?
Yes.
Than it is to sit there, allow somebody to kind of be bold and horrible to me and just go, okay, that's hard.
That's hard.
Like really hard.
Yes.
Especially when I've been so aggressive and lived in a masculine energy for years and years and years. Right? Where I didn't really accept my femininity. I didn't accept the fact that I was a woman because of the fact that I didn't think that I was a woman, because of the fact that I'd been through so many miscarriages. And obviously I wasn't a woman. It's all of these things. You know,
so complex, isn't it?
So complex, but simple.
At the same time.
Yeah. It's that kind of like when you break it down and you really can, I think that's why I am in the way I am now, where if I'm triggered,
yes,
I'm more inclined now to really look at why I'm triggered rather than the situation that I'm triggered by.
Yeah.
Because
so as I am understanding, you gain understanding, you get kind of the answers to your whys, and that kind of gave you certainty.
Yeah, certainty, complete certainty. And I think this is why I'm so sure in who I am now.
Yes.
You know, it's still a journey. I'm still learning about parts of myself. But the thing is, as well, is because I've had to accept the fact that, yes, I can be loud. Yes, I can be a bit ballsy. Yes, I can be a bit in some people's face. But you know what? I don't give a shit, because it's their intimidation, not mine.
Yes. Now, I want to give some clarity to this point, because we went from very dark moments of suicide and self-destruction to the maximum. You found some help.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. We skipped.
Or the help helped you.
Yeah, but
and then you are now kind of building up. What would you say? What would you say is the moment when you could acknowledge the fact that the worst is in the past, and now you are in a much better position?
I'll tell you the gift for me. For being able to kind of really want to turn it around.
Yes.
Was when I realized my role as a human had changed when my grandson was born.
Oh. There you are. One more time, love.
It was, and also the fact he was a man.
Yes. It's
a boy. We've been surrounded by girls. I don't trust men.
Yes. How old is your
He's 18 months old. Yeah, I know. And he's the most beautiful little human and the most beautiful little boy. And he's, he was literally, that was the moment when I realized that I had a different role to play.
Yes.
It wasn't about, I think he opened me up as well to the fact that how can I? I'm lucky because of the fact that he was the blessing.
Yes.
But I do believe I would have got there. But I just think I was kind of given.
Now, let's imagine that at some point, this little creature, which is about 18 months right now, at some point is going to be 18 years of age.
I can't
And
wait.
maybe he will watch this video of
Yeah.
understanding what Nan went through and all the
Yeah.
situation. What would you say to that 18-year-old boy who
Oh my
might be
God.
watching at some point?
I'll tell you what I want to say to him. I hope we've had loads of fun, loads of adventures, and I hope you think of me kindly and that you are the most beautiful man in the world, and don't let anybody ever tell you anything different.
There you go. There you go. And okay, well, now we send a message to the future.
Yes.
We have sent a message to the past, because
Past,
also
yeah.
you've been able to look back and see
I mean,
yourself.
that's quite. And the funny thing is like that. There's probably a surface of what I faced. Like that's probably scratching the surface.
It's quite. I mean, we could at some point go deeper into these
Yeah, this is what I mean.
different
Yeah.
situations. But I think in a general picture, you painted a very clear understanding of how bad it got,
Oh,
how confusing and painful.
painful. I think that's it.
Yes, and right now I would like to focus the next period of this interview. It's about give us your tools, give us what you learned, give us the wisdom of moving on, finding strength or clarity and self-discipline.
Self-discipline is my superpower, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm not even lying there. I mean, I've lost 10.5 stone in the last 2 years.
Yes,
so
yes.
like, yeah, it's
I want to share. Let me see if I can share share screen. Let me see if I can share the screen so I can show people.
The difference.
Yes, look at the difference. So we have first this picture. Look at the difference. I mean, right now I'm showing the picture with the green top.
Oh right, yeah.
And then we have also the red top.
Right.
Yes, I'm showing that one right now.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And then we have the yellow shorts.
The yellow shorts are my favorite. Obviously, yellow is my favorite color.
You can see here the massive transformation that you have undergone. I mean, it's not only mind.
No.
You have transformed your body as you transform your mind, as you transform your life. And I mean, the whole transformation is everywhere. So, first of all, thank
you.
Well done, because and this amount of work that you have put, this amount of weight you have shed, not only in body weight, but
I physically lost a person.
In burdens, in traumas, in crisis, and all that shed. You have shed that much, and you're still in the process. You said yes, but tell us more now. Give us. Do
you know what? For me, and this the thing is people always look for motivation.
Yes.
To be able to do something, right? Yes. Now, to be able to gain motivation, you need to do action. So the first step you've got to do is make the action. You've got to be so committed to you, to you yourself, that there is no question that you are going to do what needs to be done.
Yes.
It's about, like you commit to a marriage, like you commit to a person, like you commit to your children, like you commit to your family. You have to put that level of commitment into yourself. It's that bottom line. Respect yourself enough to not eat the bar of chocolate because you want it. You know you want it,
Yes.
but the thing is, you know it'll do you the worst because afterwards you're going to feel guilty. But even though you'll enjoy it at the time, you're still going to live with the guilt after because you've ate the chocolate bar.
Yeah.
So you're putting yourself into a cycle. Do you know what I mean? All it is about choosing you rather than the chocolate. Choosing you rather than the takeaway.
There is one, Brené Brown. She says, choose challenge over comfort.
Yeah, always. If you're comfortable.
Something like that. It's not,
yeah. Because, you know, if you're comfortable,
yes,
you're sitting and doing nothing. As in, I don't even mean physically sitting and doing nothing. I mean in life. You're just plodding along. You're happy. You're in an existence.
Yes.
That's all you're doing. You're existing. You're not living. You're not present. You're not there. You're just living.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what comfort is about. Is that real happiness? Really? Ask yourself that question. Is that really happiness, or is there more out there that can make me happy?
More than just living. I would say it's not actually living, because we are trying to cover with all those comforts.
Distractions.
It's the pain. It's the darkness. It's the confusion that we have, the ignorance, the wanting to escape the feeling so bad.
Yeah.
And we choose to feel a little bit better by that bar of chocolate or that drug or that drink or whatever. But at some point, I think it's about expanding our vision of what life is all about.
Yeah.
And realize, however 5 minutes of comfort this bar of chocolate is going to give me is not going to make me feel more than those 5 minutes.
No.
I mean, and my life is way more than just 5 minutes of comfort.
And the funny thing is, it's like this morning, because like my routine now, as soon as I wake up, I get dressed and I go for a walk for a mile at least.
Yes.
That's the first thing I do every morning, earphones on, in my zone, and go for a walk immediately. Right? And now, instead of a bar of chocolate or those other fixes, it's dependent upon what time I go out. What colour is the sky?
Yes.
What do the trees look like today? I mean, like this morning, we had the most beautiful skyline over the city, which I get to see every day.
You can still see the sun in your face right now.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. Those are the things that we miss when we have our heads buried.
100%.
You don't see the beauty of externally.
Yes. Now, let me take you back to the moment when that action became habit. How did you manage to go to say, you know something, I enjoy these walks, but when did it became like,
well, it's a necessity,
a discipline?
Yeah.
How do you change the...
It takes, because the thing is, I think psychology, I think it takes 28 days to create a habit.
Yes. So it's actually now 63.
Oh, so it's gone up now. But I was told years ago.
Yeah, then it was 40. Then it was 40,
yeah.
and then
So
now it's 63.
Yeah, but I think it's just because of the fact if you've got the commitment to yourself to be able to get up, to be able to kind of like do it, and also as well, it's trying. It's trying to remove your worry away from what you can't control.
Yes.
It's raining outside. I don't want to go outside. I'm going to get wet. First excuse that you'll come up with.
Yeah.
Yeah? Come on, it is.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But rather than trying to find all the excuses, like, oh, it's raining. Oh, I'm going to get wet. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I can't do that. Just go, it's raining. Okay.
Yes.
And just go.
I think, for example, in my case, it was stop thinking. Something that for people like us is rather impossible.
Yes.
To stop thinking. And stop analyzing and stop asking whys and what am I going to get and give me the reason.
Is what it is.
You commit to this change because you have something bigger, in your case, your family, your grandson, your daughter, yourself now. you have so much to look forward to, that whatever constructions of the mind might stop you from thinking, from doing what you need to be doing, you just know that you have to do it.
Yeah,
and
you just do it.
And you do it.
It's about that.
That's it. It's just cutting through the middle of all those thoughts and thinking patterns that doesn't serve you, and say, I'm going to do it.
Because I'll tell you something which gives you a real good kind of indicator of your self-discipline.
Yes.
Which I found, which really taught me how much self-discipline I have, is fasting.
Yes. That's another one.
Right?
Yes.
The power in fasting, in having control over that temptation of food, is incredible. And you know, when you master that urge of wanting to eat, because at the end of the day, these all is that when we go to food or drugs or drink or anything like that, it's an urge.
Yes.
That it's as simple as that. It's an urge that you want. Do you know? Do you need me to move out of the sun?
Yes, because it's darkening. Yes.
But yeah, it's about knowing and also getting to the root of why you're feeling the urge. Because a lot of the time, it always boils down to the way you think about yourself.
Yes.
And running away from yourself.
Yes.
Which I did for 12 years with a real big, massive drug binge halfway through it, where I was like literally a proper addict.
Yes.
Doing the most ridiculous shit that I would never do as a human.
Yeah.
To knowing that I hold the power.
Yes.
That actually I'm in full control. I create my own world. So my boundaries are there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're uncomfortable at first. Oh, they really are. You know, especially when you're used to people pleasing. Oh,
yeah.
Do you know to not please someone?
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's really hard.
Really hard.
You need that validation.
But that's just it.
Yeah.
That's external validation.
Totally.
That's all it is. I mean, I still like to people please. It's nice to be validated. Come on.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, I don't need to be validated anymore.
So now, what are your tools right now? I mean, what are you doing? You said you walk every day.
I walk every day. I think it's being consistent with myself and making sure that I'm sticking to my routine as much as possible.
Okay.
Secondly, I think the big important thing for me is noticing when I'm entering a negative thought process.
Yes.
The fact I don't judge it and I don't go, oh, here we go again. Now I'm going into this headspace. I just go, okay, that thought is there. And really kind of go into the nitty gritty of, is it rational or are you being irrational? Do you know, as soon as you kind of get a grip on being able to look at the thought from a real outside perspective, you'll soon start to see how abusive you are towards yourself.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to take it to the next level. What would be something that you know you need to implement in your life right now as part of your new level of self-discipline?
He's so shouting at me right now.
That you are ready to upgrade your inner work.
I'll tell you, I need to commit to meditation and Tappalini. I need to commit to it to make sure I'm doing it consistently.
I'm going to put you in the witness.
He's setting the challenge.
I'm going to say it's going to be a challenge. Today is the 2nd of February. Let's start 40 days challenge of meditation. Let's use Tappalini for our safe code, to create our safe code and to begin to create that space. And I would like to challenge you to the next level. What about if this is a possibility? If during these 40 days, you create a video diary of every day.
Of me doing the meditation.
Are they doing it while you're doing it, or how you felt before or after.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because with me, it always brings emotions up, doesn't it?
That would be brilliant if we can create a video. Okay, this is how I feel right now. I'm gonna start my challenge.
Before and
I don't
after.
want to do it. I feel like, oh gosh, it's boring, whatever, all the things. Do it. And then again, okay, this is how I feel now.
Yeah. Right, a challenge accepted.
People, you're watching. You are witnesses. So you have to keep us accountable. And we're gonna be posting it on this channel and giving testimonial
of what Tapolini does, of what the safe code.
The process of what's happening within you.
Yeah.
So we can not only say, oh, you have to meditate, but
there's
actually
more to it than that.
Actually seeing, witnessing the results and what's happening.
Yeah. I think that's why I like, because the thing is right, a lot out there at the moment, right? A lot out there at the moment, you see where there's a lot of meditation videos and things like that out there.
Yes.
And the thing is, right, what I find, because obviously being an AFANT as well, which is aphantasia, a lot of it's visual.
Yes.
Right? I'm not a visual learner. I can't pull images. I can't even, I know they tell you, imagine this beam of light around you. I'm like, I can't do that.
Yes.
So I'm like, this is why this process is so vital for me as well, because it's not about visual.
Yeah.
It's more about your emotional connection. It's more about
emotional intelligence and wisdom.
It's not about pulling in the light to yourself. It's not about visioning yourself here, there, or anywhere. It's about literally going in,
checking your emotions,
yes,
and realizing that you can use that energy for something constructive, instead of destructive.
Exactly, and this is it.
And that is the choice. That's
massive.
Each of us choice to say, I want to self-destruct or I want to self-construct. That is up to us. But it takes commitment and determination.
Oh, it takes big balls.
I want to say we have reached 1 hour right now.
Oh, good gosh.
Rhiannon has been an amazing support to you. I will reach some, said you're amazing. She mentions Tommy.
Oh, Tommy, that's my grandson. Yeah.
She said, you're my girl. So thank you so much, Rhiannon, for being so...
I love you so much. For being the most bestest friend ever.
We want to invite you to be part of this process.
Yeah.
And if you want, we would like to do something like this. Three-way...
a three-way interview would be
lovely. Interview. Yeah. What do you think, Rhiannon?
Hopefully she's still
Yes, and also you're gonna be part of our challenge, the 40-day challenge. Of this. I definitely want to see what the difference makes. Tomorrow actually is the day that I kickstart the Your Safe Code
40
program.
Days. Right.
Program, which is a 12-week program.
Yeah.
And we can make that
the beginning of the launch. Okay,
then.
Tomorrow morning, first thing, I tell you what I might do as well is if I can, maybe I'll go live with you and do the meditation.
Yeah.
If you're going live with it tomorrow morning.
Okay, let's do that.
Let's do that.
Why
not?
Let's do it on Zoom. So we can invite people and
to join us.
And they can join.
Yes, let's do that.
Do it we like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
let's
we transmit it live as we do it. Time.
Good time, I mean.
Well, we will talk about that and we'll see it.
But thank you very much for listening to me and my story today.
You were amazing. Everyone. You were amazing. I think you should be so proud of yourself because talking about this publicly, and I know that you're gonna be looking back. I really hope that at some point in some moment of your life, you look back at this video and you see yourself, and you will see another massive turning point. Today was a turning point in your life. Everything you talked about is not longer in your mind. It's not longer in your head, or it's already out there. that means that it doesn't belong to you.
It's not a secret
You
anymore.
can say goodbye to that story and begin to build a brand new story with brand new emotions and commitments and stories and everything. Well done. Well done. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
So proud of you. So proud of you. And I'm so happy to be able to share this with everyone, with Rihanna, who has been so present. And thank you so much, Rihanna. Thank you so much. And from whomever is going to be watching in the future, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. God bless you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Next time we will be
doing the 40-day challenge and talking about it.
There you go. There you go. Well, thank you so much. Until next time. Bye-bye, Catherine. Thank you so much. Bye.